Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear students, this is lecture 5. We are still talking about the consonants of English. Last lecture we started talking about the only lateral sound we have in English, which is the sound le. We talked about how do we pronounce it and how to describe it. Today it's time to talk about its distribution. If you remember, we said that this sound is a special sound in terms of pronunciation, since it is the only sound that is produced when the center of the mouth is closed and the air goes out through the sides. It is the only sound that is not central in English. Today we are going to talk about how the sound le is special, but in terms of distribution. And when we say distribution, we mean where do we find the sound le and in what form. Actually, the sound le is a phoneme, an English phoneme, that has two allophones, two forms, two realizations, two pronunciations, if you like. One of them is dark and the other one is clear. And sometimes we use the terms heavy and light. When we say dark or heavy, we mean the sound l. It is a heavy one. And when we say clear or light, we mean the sound le. So l. Try to pronounce these two sounds or these two forms together. That's why you can identify the difference. Dark le is found after vowels. That is, it is under the coda. When the sound le is after the vowel under the coda, it is going to be l, just like the word full, careful, skillful, helpful. Okay, while if the sound le is found before vowels, that is, it occupies the onset position, it's going to be light. Before vowels, under the onset, the le sound is light, just like the word list and look. We cannot say list or look. We say look, list. In terms of syllable structure, you know that the syllable is divided into onset rhyme, and the rhyme is divided into nucleus coda. So here we usually have consonants, just like in the word full. F is a consonant. Here we usually have the nucleus, the vowel, just like u, e, o in these examples. And under the coda we often have consonants, just like se, te in list, or old, full. But if you can notice the difference between the la here we have in l, in full, and the la we have in list. Since the la we have in full is under the coda, it is dark, full. But the sound la that we have in list, which is under the onset, it's pronounced in a light form. We say list, we do not say list. Okay, old is the same. Old, the le sound is under the coda, that's why it's dark. So we conclude that the sound le is found in all positions. It's found initially, medially, and finally. But we need to identify when it is dark and when it is light. Okay? The sound le can be syllabic. If you remember, we talked about the distinction between syllabic and non-syllabic. Syllabic simply means that it is the sound that can occupy the nucleus position, that can become nawat al-maqta'. But non-syllabic sounds are the sounds that cannot be the nucleus. They are always under the margins. The margins of the syllable are the onset and the rhyme, the coda. The onset and the coda, we call them the margins, hawamish al-maqta', while the vowel is the nucleus. And we said that in English, non-syllabic consonants or non-syllabic sounds are often consonants, while syllabic sounds are often vowels. But sometimes, as we have seen with the pronunciation of nasals, ma, na, ing, the la can also be syllabic, as you can see in the word bottle, bottle. Look at the difference. Bottle, there is a schwa, but bottle, there is no schwa. There is no schwa. Look, here we have the schwa and the la is non-syllabic. Here we don't have the schwa and the la is syllabic. And the pronunciation is bottle, bottle, bottle. Okay? So as we have seen in na and ma, la sound can be syllabic, but in condition that it is the coda of a syllable that has the weak vowel schwa, and this vowel is deleted. That's why the consonant la will take the position of the vowel. Now we need to, by the way, all syllabic la are dark. All syllabic la are dark because they are originally under the coda position. Sorry. Gliding consonants, this is a new group of sounds, or a new group of consonants actually, which are called gliding. They are wa, ya, and ra. Wa, ya, and ra. Why do we call them gliding sounds? Because they consist of a quick, smooth, non-friction glide towards a following vowel. Towards a following vowel. Sometimes in some textbooks of pronunciation, we have another term that is approximants. These sounds are often described as being approximants. What do you mean by approximants? In approximants, we mean that they are the sounds produced when two articulators become so close to each other, but there is no clear contact. No clear contact. That's why we call them approximants. Approximants in Arabic means al-mutaqariba. So the organs of speech approximate each other, but they don't form a clear contact. They don't form a clear contact between the two organs of speech. You can try pronouncing wa, ya, and ra and feel that there is no clear contact. It's true that, for example, in wa we have the two lips being so close to each other, but there is no clear contact between them. Wa, ya, ra. Later on we are going to explain how these two articulators become so close to each other. Okay? So why do we call them approximants? Why do we call them glidings? Because there is a quick, smooth, non-friction glide towards the following vowel, and there are two articulators that are approximate to each other, but there is no clear contact between them. If we talk about ya, ya is a palato-alveolar sound. What do you mean by palato-alveolar sounds? It means that this sound is produced when the blade of the tongue is raised to be so close. Remember, so close, not in contact, not in touch, but so close to the area between the end of the ridge and the beginning of the palate. That's why we call it palato. It's not alveolar, because in alveolar we have the tip of the tongue in contact with the alveolar ridge. But in palato-alveolar, we have the blade in contact, so close to the end of the ridge and the beginning of the palate. And again, I should remind you always that there is no clear contact between these two organs of speech. Okay? As for wa, which is a bilabial sound, it is produced when the two lips become so close to each other, but we don't have that clear contact between them. Okay? This is called a bilabial sound. Okay? So, palato-alveolar ya and bilabial wa are both voiced sounds. They are voiced sounds. Don't forget, we have vibration in the vocal cords when you pronounce them. That's why, actually, ya and wa are problematic sounds. Why? Because, as I said, when we pronounce them, we don't have clear contact between the organs of speech, and the air goes out freely. This is exactly how we define vowels, because in vowels we have no obstruction to the airflow, and the airflow can go out of the mouth freely. The same is true for ya and wa. There is no clear contact. The air goes out freely. But do we consider them consonants? We cannot. We call them semivowels. In Arabic, we call them ashbah al-illa. In some part of the issue, they are similar to consonants. On the other part, they are similar to vowels. How are they similar to vowels? I have just explained, because they are just like vowels in their pronunciation. There is no obstruction to the airflow and the air goes out freely. But how are they similar to consonants? They are similar to consonants. If you remember, when we talk about the syllable, we said the syllable is divided into onset rhyme. The rhyme is divided into nucleus, coda. Consonants are under the onset or under the coda. The nucleus is filled up with vowels. So the question is, where do we find ya and wa? Do we find them under the nucleus or we find them under the onset? The answer is we find them under the onset. And the onset is a place that is usually occupied by consonants. So in this part of the issue of wa and ya, they are consonants. They are not vowels. That's why we call them semivowels. Phonetically, I mean their actual pronunciation is similar to the pronunciation of vowels. But phonologically, when we talk about the syllable and its distribution, they act like, they behave like consonants. Okay? Examples, the word yard and the word wind. Here we have ya and here we have wa. Okay, this is ya and wa. Both of them are found where? Under the onset position before the vowels, before the nucleus. They are not under the nucleus, so they are considered consonants, not vowels. One more point is that wa and ya lose some of their voicing if they are preceded by aspirated sounds, اللي هم pa, ta, ka, in initial position. Example, twin, twin. Because of the aspiration we have in ta, the wa will lose some of its voicing and becomes devoiced. Okay? Devoiced rather than devoicing. Okay? The same is true for ya, as in the example tune, tune. Because ta is aspirated, the ya sound will be what? Will be devoiced. Devoiced. Okay? Another thing I want to refer to before I finish the lecture is that there are certain words in English that actually in which the ya sound is involved. The ya sound, the one we are talking about here as an approximant and a gliding sound, we have certain words with two pronunciations. One of them is with assimilation, the other one without assimilation. The assimilation here involves the sound ya. For example, the ta plus ya can be pronounced as either situation, which is the pronunciation we are more familiar with. We normally, in Iraq, we normally say situation. But there is another pronunciation that is situation. Situation. This is also correct. When you hear somebody talking in this accent, don't say, okay, this is wrong. Please correct your pronunciation. It's not situation, it's a situation. No, both are correct. Actually, originally it was situation, but because we have assimilation here, it becomes situation, and this assimilation becomes an established one. What do you mean by established? It is already known in the language and very frequently used. The same is true for da plus ya. Here we have the word education, education, education. But some people still say education, education. Is this wrong? No, this is not wrong. We have also another case of se plus ya, just like miss you. It can be pronounced like miss you, miss you. The se plus ya becomes she. Bless you, bless you. When somebody sneezes, you can say bless you, liyubarik Allah, arhamka Allah, bless you. Okay? These are called cases of established assimilation in English. Both pronunciation are correct. both pronunciations are correct. You cannot say that situation is wrong. You should say situation. Miss you is wrong. You should say miss you. Both are acceptable by native speakers. Actually, this is the last thing I want to talk about. Thank you very much for listening. See you.